And let's get more news on that and the details and go to Jessica Smith in D.C. for the very latest. Jessica.
Yeah, well, the president, as you mentioned, says he is raising tariffs on $300 billion in Chinese goods. These will be 10% tariffs starting on September 1st. Now, talks with China in Shanghai just wrapped up this week, and the White House yesterday said those talks were constructive. They said that China had committed to buy more agricultural products, but the president saying today that China has not done that yet. They have not bought more U.S. farm goods, and they have not worked to stop the flow of fentanyl into the United States. I think it is important to point out that these are going to be at 10%. We had heard that they could be up to 25% as the president was considering this. We were having these public hearings about the possible tariffs before the president at the G20 said he was not going to put them in place. So it is worth noting that they're at 10%. Not at 25, and they don't go into effect until September 1st. So there is some time here. Talks with China were supposed to take place here in D.C. next month, sometime in September. We're waiting to see what China says, how they respond to the news of these increased tariffs. But as I said, those talks were scheduled to happen in D.C. President Trump says they will continue. He says he looks forward to more positive dialogue and a trade deal at some point in the future. But for right now, he is putting these 10% tariffs on $300 billion in Chinese goods.
Jessica Smith in D.C.
You know, and by the way, if you take President Trump at his word, he has a point. He said the Chinese said they were going to buy farm products, and they haven't. He said the Chinese were going to curb fentanyl production and exports to the United States, and they haven't. Now, I don't know enough to know whether those are both the case. My understanding is the Chinese have not bought those farm products. So what's the president to do?
Right.
I mean, you know, how can he not respond then?
But, you know, trade wars are apparently not easy to win, right? That's the issue. It's
I mean,
that
you're right.
it is
I asked what's he to do. I didn't say he should do this, but I said what's he to do.
Who made the bed? And
Right.
that's now, I do think it's interesting, the 10%, when, of course, there was talk about 25%. Is that just leaving the door open for another midday tweet that will roil the markets again? I don't think this is the last possibly that we've heard of it. But yeah, definitely the administration in a tough position. It does not seem like those talks went well. They left early. And this tweet, of course, coming after President Trump had been briefed on how everything had been going. So it doesn't look like well.